I'm pleased we're here today to mark up H.R. 5260, the PROSWIFT Act. Space weather is electromagnetic activity, solar eruptions, solar flares, and radiation, which come from the sun and can have significant societal, economic, national security, and health implications both here on Earth and in space. Over 4 years ago, Dr. Dan Baker from the University of Colorado testified in front of this committee about the dangers of space weather events on the electric grid, our communication systems, and our satellites. At that hearing, he said, had an observed July 2012 space weather event actually hit the Earth, we would, and I'm quoting him, still be picking up the pieces. That testimony stuck with me, and when Senators Gary Peters and Cory Gardner introduced the Space Weather Research and Forecasting Act a few months later, I was eager to start working on the House companion bill. Since 2016, the Senate has passed a version of this legislation a couple times, and the Science Committee took up one of those bills in 2018. But we've never been able to come to an agreement on language that can pass both the House and the Senate. Thankfully, I think today we are going to take the first step towards ending that streak and finally pass this bill into law. In 2015, the Office of Science and Technology Policy pulled together the best and brightest from within the various agencies, academia, and the private sector working on space weather to produce the National Space Weather Strategy and Action Plan. These documents help renew our focus on the critical research and operational needs to improve our space weather enterprise, and OSTP updated the strategy and action plan again last year. H.R. 5260 helps build upon this work by providing the structure needed for the continued advancement of heliophysics research, collection of new data and observations, and improvements to our modeling and forecasting. Our bill also, for the first time, clearly delineates the roles and responsibilities of the key federal agencies involved in space weather, including NOAA, NASA, the National Science Foundation, the Department of Defense, the FAA, the Interior Department, and OSTP. Additionally, our legislation brings in new voices from the academic community, commercial space weather sector, and space weather forecast end users. These communities will participate in the Space Weather Advisory Group created in the bill, as well as on new government academia commercial roundtable, which is created and then facilitated by the National Academies of Science. Finally, the bill also sets up a formal research to operations and operations to research mechanisms to help break down barriers between the research community and forecasters by encouraging sharing of information and requirements to improve the pipeline of new observations and technologies. This bill will significantly improve our understanding of space weather and better prepare us for its impacts on the electric grid, the communication networks, satellite operations, airline operations, and as we continue to add more things to the internet, to transportation systems and our connected economy. It will also help NASA understand the radiation environment, as the chairwoman said, for our astronauts on the International Space Station, on their way back to the moon, and most importantly, and I don't have my bumper sticker, on their journey to Mars by 2033. We've been working on this bill for some time now, and I want to thank Mo Brooks for his help pushing for this bipartisan legislation, as well as Chairwoman Johnson and her staff, and Ranking Member Lucas and his staff for their support over the years of getting us to where we are today. I ask unanimous consent to enter into the record the following letters of support we've received on the bill from the University of Colorado, the University Corporation for Atmospheric Research, the American Commercial Space Weather Association, the American Astronomical Society, the American Geophysical Union, the University of Michigan, the University of New Hampshire, and Pennsylvania State University. And with that, I encourage all my colleagues to support the bill, and I yield back.